when it comes to this whole Don Murray situation, when I tell you it got crazy, I mean, it got hellified crazy. It got crazy. And so a lot of this was brought on because a certain individual that I would say this she's she's Don's worst enemy. Like he can't stand her. She she was she was speaking on behalf of FDMG, and then all of a sudden she had to start saying that she's not speaking on behalf of FDMG or Dr. Johnson anymore because of that whole situation. And so Don kept saying that he was going, you know, to file a lawsuit. He was gonna get his money. It was a whole situation about the ID. Y'all remember the ID, the story of Don and the ID, and how before it got to this point, Don had to prove that he had a real legit state issued ID. If you guys remember that, put a one in the chat. If you remember Don and the ID, put a one in the chat. Like, see, Miss Felicia, this whole saga has chapter names. Don and the ID. Look at the ones. The whole Don and ID story was crazy. And so this man was jumping through all types of hoops to get his ID because Umar was saying that in order for him to pay him, he needed an ID. Like all of this is so crazy. All of this was on YouTube. And so the spokeswoman, I should say, was saying that when Don gets his ID, Dr. Johnson was going to pay him said funds. He wind up getting the ID. He sends, the ID to I guess to Umar, and Umar winds up sending the ID, the picture of the ID to some folks who gets on YouTube. And so people are kicking around this man's ID. So Umar doxed him. Now, mind you, we have said these things over and over and over and over again that hey, Umar Johnson is funny when it comes to money. Umar Johnson likes to dox folks. But did Mr. Murray listen to us? I don't think he did.
Nope.
As a matter of fact, before he even decided to pay attention to the what was being said on YouTube, he decided to partner with Umar Johnson, and you know we doing the work. There's videos of him up at the school, like the music that you heard during the show at the beginning of the show. That's from the videos where Don and Umar was up at the school, and Umar Johnson is saying, "We working, we doing the work," and all yada yada whoop de whoop. Like all of this is video recorded. It's so crazy. All of this is video recorded. Long story short, Don's ID gets kicked around. They determine the ID is not legit. They say that Umar is gonna get the money, or he's gonna pay Don through a third party. That never worked. It's like everything fell through when it came to Don getting his money, and so he took the necessary steps to get his money. So here we are.
You then see April 22nd, service by the sheriff is requested. You then see civil summons issued to Newcastle County Sheriff requesting that service be effected upon whom? Defendant Umar Johnson. You then see April 22nd, the summons was signed and sealed by the clerk, right? And you now see May 7th, 2021, service returned. So what does that mean?
Before I let that run, I'm gonna blow this screen up. I want you to hit the like button. Make sure you share the show because remember when I asked the question at the beginning of the show, does Umar Johnson does he own that school? Well, here we go.
Well, let's see. Summons returned on April 26, 2021 as to Umar Johnson. The given/provided address is a high school, or rather is Moyer Academy High School. It looks like MA High School. Buildings are boarded over, windows and doors, and appears to be vacant. Internet search says property foreclosed and also indicated don't believe the hype about subject buying the property. No matching DMV record for subject. So, what does that mean, everyone? Well, allow me to tell you what that means. That means the sheriff went to FDMG, which they know as Moyer Academy, right, to try to serve Umar Johnson this lawsuit. However, when the sheriff arrived, they saw, as they described, a building that appears to be totally vacant and vacated. And when they did their internet search, because they have to do due diligence in trying to serve someone, right? They saw things on the internet that suggested that Umar Johnson perhaps doesn't actually own this property.
Got to be more careful. Whoa. Whoa. That was a lot. That was a lot. That was a whole hell of a lot.